Warning: the following video contains harsh language, sexual references, and some possible triggers. This video is not meant for anyone under the age of 16. I do not own these fanfiction or their rights. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey there all you freaks and geeks, it's your resident pink-haired maniac and I got a new blanket! It's Pac-Man. In my last video I introduced a new segment on the show, which would be Fanfiction Corner. I didn't receive very many submissions from people, so I had to dig through the fanfiction sites by myself and also ask for some good ones from friends. All in all, I got about 15. So let's head over to the Fanfiction Corner. Fanfiction Corner! This is Fanfiction Corner. Literally a corner of my room. So basically what I'm going to do is this. I'll be picking a fanfiction out of a hat, and then if it's short enough, I don't know, 100 words, then I'll pick another one. If it's too long, then I'm going to read one chapter, unless it's a really small chapter, in which case I'll read two. So I've got hat here. God, I hope it's not 50 Shades of Grey. The Quiet Man by Ivy Blossom. Quick warning before I start, I'm probably going to jump around a lot in the final editing process, so if something seems off, that's because it is. I skipped a lot. According to Archive of Our Own, this is a Sherlock fanfic. Alright, cool beans. Rating explicit. Summary. Do you just carry on talking when I'm away? Okay. Oh, okay, so apparently it's from John's point of view. There are 58 chapters on here? Okay. Alright, here we go. The Quiet Man by Ivy Blossom. Chapter 1. 43 minutes. So, she rests her hands on her toes, her fingers flat against the page. They're slim and warm brown. She has pretty oval fingernails, always clean. She's fastidious, I'd say. She doesn't work with her hands. She doesn't do any heavy lifting, nothing dusty or dirty. It's just easier to be here if I only look at her hands. If I try to think like you do, like you did. She splays her fingers out as if she expects me to stare at them. By now, I expect she does. I'll stare at your splayed hands all day. I reckon she doesn't even wash dishes. She probably has a boyfriend who does that. Maybe a girlfriend? I don't know. I can't tell. I never can. How could you always tell? Clothing? Products? I don't know. It never made any sense to me. What can I tell about her? She's your therapist? Her fingernails are manicured, polished, but only ever with clear varnish. It's kind of a neutral statement, wouldn't you say? I don't know. What would I say? Clear nail varnish? What's the point of it? It's perfect varnish, too. Not like Harry's. I suppose she has her nails done. That's more likely, isn't it, Sherlock? Don't laugh. Ha ha ha! I don't need to hear him say it. I don't need to see that amused and slightly horrified look on his face, watching the monkey trying to wear a pair of shoes or something. So funny, isn't it, Sherlock? That condescending smile of his? No, I don't need to see that again. Oh God, of course I do. I need to see it. I want to. This hurts. Don't think about it. Christ, stop it. Just stop. There's a colon there, by the way. Just colon stop. Perfectly flat white ceiling? No, there was a bit of damp on the corner by the window. It's been painted over, but it's still there. Spot on the rug behind her chair. A cup of coffee spilled there, maybe. A cup of tea. Hard to say. This is supposed to be explicit. This is more... She hasn't even started yet? Oh my God. Come on, pay attention. She's trying to get started. She's going to say something. She's going to ask how I am, what I've been doing. She's going to ask about you, but there's nothing left to say. No blood, no broken skull, no dead eyes. Stop. Don't. God, it's not a game. I forget that it's not. It's not a game anymore anyway. It's a joke. But there's no punchline, is there? No, there's nothing. It's just this. Talking. About nothing. Talking shit. Her skin obscures the last word on the page, but I know what it is. It's progress. Written in blue ink. In cursive. Cursive? Land sakes! Progress. As in, I'm not making any. There's a mark on her face by her right eye. I thought you were looking at her hands, John. I thought you were looking at her hands. Her perfectly manicured, splayed hands. Eyeliner black. Maybe it's brown. I don't know. Sherlock would know the brand by now. He'd know why it's smudged on her face. The whole story. He'd know. Should I ask? Dinner? A movie? Back to my flat? There must be a bed upstairs here somewhere. Her thighs around my hips? No, I can't shag my therapist. Way too awkward. She'd probably keep notes. Anyway, there's a boyfriend, right? A girlfriend? Maybe I should ask. Now she starts talking. This entire time he's just been thinking. How long has it been already? I mean, there's a generic answer, the one everyone gives, the default. Fine. It's like a punctuation. It doesn't mean anything. No, it means don't bother me, don't ask. It means none of your fucking business. I can feel my face getting hot. It embarrasses me. I'm embarrassed. By what? Nothing. Sitting here staring at her hands. John, I thought you were staring at her face now. Sitting here staring at her hands, saying nothing at all, or talking shit. I wonder how one talks shit with your therapist. I have to give her something. Say something. Fingernails, varnish, women's fingers. I remember. Women in the media tend to prefer what some might consider to be an alarming shade of pink. Have you noticed that? This is him talking, by the way. Her jagged fingernails left a password. It would have hurt. There was something to go on. She knew she was going to die and that there was no hope for her. It must have made her angry, the injustice of it. So she gave us something. Before there was an us. She'd never heard of us. I never heard of him. He talked so fast I could barely make sense of him, but sense was all that came out. It was like love at first sight. Love at first sight? Well, love? What? I can't say that out loud. God knows Ella's just waiting for me to say something like that. Everyone is. They don't understand. It's not like that, but that doesn't mean it isn't. I mean, I don't know what I mean. I can almost feel his withering look, almost, and I can almost hear him say, "Don't be boring, John." Ella must have think I've gone off right the deep end. I'm grinning like a lunatic. It feels so good to almost hear him, but then I lose him again, and he's gone. He's not sitting next to me. He's not at home talking to me, even though I've gone out. He's dead. My feet are so heavy on the carpet, I think I may never move again. Look, you're sitting. How are your feet? You're short. How do your feet even hit the ground? This might be what hell is like. Ella doesn't understand. She doesn't remember about the pink lady. She read my blog. I know she did, at the time. She doesn't remember now. I need to clear my throat first. Women on the telly, you know, the newsreaders, so often in pink, bright pink. Have you noticed that? No, she says. She's stone-faced. She thinks I'm talking in code or taking the piss. Taking the piss. Is that a thing in England? Is that a phrase or something? Taking the piss. How does one take the piss aside from the bathroom? But in this sense, how? Jennifer Wilson gave us a password. She used the last seconds of her life to communicate that one thing. And what did Sherlock give me? That pool of blood next to his head that's burned into my brain. No pulse. His wrist was warm, but of course it was. Warm skin and blood everywhere. He made me a witness to something I can't ever pretend I didn't see. And a note, he says. That wasn't a note, Sherlock. It was a lie. It was a lie! No, don't think about it. Smile. Look her in the face for once, even though it's uncomfortable. It's nothing. 43 minutes to go. And that was chapter 1 of The Quiet Man. That's not very quiet, is it? All credit belongs to its author, which is Ivy Blossom. And since this is the first fanfiction corner, I'm going to read another one for you. A shorter one. One that somebody picked for me and threatened to hurt me with if I didn't read. They didn't really, I'm just saying that. The fic is called Spontaneous Violent Love, and it's by Porn Was Never an Option on Tumblr. It's a slash fic. Castiel and cheese! I haven't read this yet, so let's see what happens. It wasn't Castiel's fault the block of cheese was a slut. I can tell this is going to be good already. It was aged, sharp, fragrant, fragrant, and the holes, the orifices covering it, were alluring in a strangely erotic way. He knew, deep in his heart of hearts, that angels weren't supposed to be sexual. He knew that he wasn't supposed to feel this heat in the pit of his stomach, this absolute burning in his loins. But the horror in front of him, the finely made harlot, was more than he could physically bear. That's called hunger. Eat the cheese. Don't do what I think you're about to do. Please don't. Sarah and Dean were gone on the hunt, and Castiel was left alone with this dairy sucker. And try as he might, there was no way he could avoid it. Try throwing it away? Into a trash, maybe? He would open the mini fridge every so often just to peek at her in her wrappings, her hole sweating with that oh-so-delicious smell, and he'd have to close the fridge again with his stirred in his slacks, bidding thoughts he never wanted to have. Eat the damn cheese! You don't want it. Don't do what I think you're about to do. Please don't. Please don't. Oh, the images. He tried so hard to repress this lust, attempt to keep himself from looking at her in all her cheesy glory, but he reached a point where he snapped, taking the block from her home on the shelf and running his fingers down her cheesecloth covering. Time out for a second. Is cheese sold in cheesecloth still? I mean, I understand this is a block of cheese, but are we talking about, like, plastic? He pulled it off slowly, sensually, allowing her musky scent to assault his nose like the very finest of whores. This was all he ever wanted. His slats were undone within moments, his in his hand, already so incredibly hard from her scent alone, and he slid her down, rubbing her slowly against the head of his dick. It'll only hurt a little, he whispered aloud before he slipped his... Oh my god, before slipping his into one of her many orifices, gasping in absolute pleasure. She was perfect, tight, and fucking meaty. How cheese needy, ugh. And Castiel groaned as he plunged deeper, thrusting his lusty man-meat into the depths of her aged perfection. It sounds like he's having sex with an old lady. I'm sorry. This is what he wanted all along. Screw God, screw his brothers and the Winchesters and the state of heaven. How could he even think of returning to that when he had tasted the most delicious of all pleasures on earth? You didn't taste it yet, you dumb fuck. You're fucking it. His was throbbing incessantly inside of her, his stomach twisting and turning with ill-suppressed pleasure, and he knew that he was going to come soon. This was unlike anything he'd ever felt before. Oh god, why am I reading this? Mandy, I hate you! Do I have to read the whole thing? Fucking into her delicate dairy depths with all the lust he'd ever contained inside of him, and he knew deep inside that she wanted this just as much as he did. Parts of her were crumbling around him, slipping off into his lap, and the thought of this being her only opportunity to do this got him hornier than he thought he was ever possible. Okay. I thought angels weren't equipped with this stuff, by the way. Just saying, just throwing that out there. I thought they were just ill-equipped. Finally, after what felt like hours of thrusting into his perfect cheese goddess, he came, filling her up and collapsing, exhausted on the bed, his only true love still clasped around his... Love-struck and fulfilled, he lay there for a moment, panting slightly before smiling at the ceiling and murmuring, "Want another round?" He found his calling in life, and it was great. The end. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, okay, that was weird as absolute fuck. But thanks, Mandy and Emily, thanks for throwing that at me. Ugh. I think I liked The Quiet Man better. I can never get these images out of my head ever again. Probably gonna hurl the next time I see cheese. Ugh. The links to the fics are below if you want to actually read them. The Tumblr one you can reblog. All rights go to their owners. I'm contemplating never doing this again, but I know I said I would. It's only once a month. Once a month. Okay. Thank you to everyone who submitted their thing for this. It was actually kind of interesting. I think I'm gonna read more of The Quiet Man, maybe. I don't know. I really wanted to read some fluff, you guys. I was not mentally prepared for that last one. So that concludes this fanfiction corner for the month. What a first day. Want to see me read a fanfiction? Leave a comment with a link of the fanfiction you want me to read for next month, and I will add it to the submissions thing and put it in the hat of choosing. For those of you who already submitted, I'm going to keep these because there's only like, 17 in there? So, I swear to God though, if somebody sends me 50 Shades of fucking Grey, I'm gonna lose it. As always, thanks for watching. Everybody stay safe, and I hope to see you next time. Adios. This is really weird.
I need you to let me touch it.
Wank wank.